energy, and it's a lot more fun. Make it look easy and we don't complain. We smile when we work, yeah, we make it again. When everyone contributes, it lightens a load. That's the way we do it. We know we're gonna reap just what we sow. That's the way we do it. We work when we together we share what we know. It keeps getting better as we go. We're an uplifting bunch, and it's easy to see. We're not afraid to get to it and roll up our sleeves. When you have a purpose, you know where you're going. Just work together, you can feel it growing. We make the world better one smile at a time. When you're looking for the best, that's what we'll find. It's gonna be what we make it, so let's make it great. It's never too late. It's never too late. We like to do more than we're asked. That's the way we do it. When we lend a hand, whatever the task. That's the way we do it. When you're having fun, we're getting it done. It's gonna be contagious for everyone. That's the way we do it. That's the way we do it. to unity. We're glad that you've arrived. Join us in community together as we thrive. The blessings we all give and take prosperity. We create, sharing love, we celebrate the oneness of us all. We lift our voices as we sing, rising up and vibrating in unison with all that is at home in unity.
Thank you, Terrell. Well, a good morning and a great big Unity of Palm Harbor welcome to everyone here and to those watching us online. If we have any visitors here, if you would be so kind as to raise your hand so we can identify you if you dare. Don't see any new hands. All right. After the service, we're going to leave through the foyer, just kind of so we're all together. At the close of our Sunday services from now on, we are going to have the youth group join us with their video for the prayer for protection. And then at the end of the peace song, the service is complete, and we're asking you to exit quietly through the foyer, mindful that probably a prayer chaplain will be up here in prayer, and so that's important. And just so you know, Reverend Tracey is with her daughter visiting in Atlanta, having taking care of some business up there, and also having a well-deserved day off for her. Rory will be up here shortly to do the announcements and the offertory at the closing. And Kimmin will do our meditation. Dee Dee Brewer will come up and read our daily word. And it's so nice to have Steve and Lori Kraut with us, joining us for the music. And so now I'd like you to just take a moment and turn within as we turn in prayer. We're knowing right now that that power and presence of Spirit is always with us. It surrounds us, it indwells us, and it supports us in everything we do. And I'm just knowing right now that that divine presence is that healing presence that we need in this world at this moment. And so I ask you to raise your consciousness to the understanding of healing and wholeness for every person on this planet, no matter where they are or who they are, that we, in consciousness, can be healed. And I'm just knowing right now that as we move forward into the service today, that we have an opportunity to be at one and to know our oneness with Spirit. And so it is. Amen. And if we have our mission statement, please join me. Advance well-being by sharing compassion and inclusiveness with integrity. Every time it's backwards, okay. Maestro, we will have some beautiful music, please.
And good morning. Won't you please stand and join us in singing? Just one second. I got the wrong lyrics up.
Leaning on the everlasting arm.
Yeah, there you go. Ready.
What a fellowship, what a joy divine, leaning on the everlasting arms. What a blessedness, what a peace is mine, leaning on the everlasting arms. Leaning, safe and secure from all alarms. Leaning
Thank you. You may be seated.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning. I'm back. Thank you for all your prayers and love and support you gave me during my time out with my surgery. I appreciate it so much, and the food and all the blessings I was getting all the time. I really appreciate that so much. The flowers arranged here today are beautiful by Linda Potts, and they're going to go to Bridget today. So, a few announcements. The new member class is September 18th, and that's with Reverend Tracey from 9 till 12 o'clock, and that's on a Saturday. If you have any questions about Unity's founding principles, or if you're ready to take the next step to become a member, that's the class for you, okay? If you'd like to help us beautify our back gardens, we're working very diligently back there cleaning up the back garden area. We're looking for flats of flowers, so if you have any, would like to donate them, bring them in. We'll put them in the ground for you, or you can help us by donating your time. Now, you may have seen it on the slide, but due to the uptick in COVID numbers, the board has decided the following changes. All activities outside the Sunday service and the World Day of Prayer, fall program, and the new member class have been suspended. So those will continue. But the Wednesday yoga and so on, and Tuesday, it's going to be canceled at this time. So we'll reevaluate that in the October meeting, okay? Our World Day of Prayer is titled All Is Well With My Soul. And there's also a brochure in the lobby that shows you all the different activities that are going to happen and the different times during the 24-hour period. You can join us live here in the sanctuary during that 24 hours, or you can watch us online. The opening ceremony will be on the 8th at 7 p.m. right here in the sanctuary, and then we'll have a closing ceremony on the 9th. Yes? Sure.
There is a sign-up sheet out there for anyone who wants to commit to pray at home during the 24-hour period. And even if someone is on that line, feel free to put their name too. So it's out there on the table for prayer at home during that 24-hour period.
Thank you for doing that. I appreciate it so much. Now, the youth have added their prayers for World Day of Prayer, and they're on display over here on the left-hand side, so take a look at them when you get a chance. And also at this time, Rob is going to play a slide presentation of the students praying for our world. And also Rob is going to be our prayer chaplain, and he'll be up here after service. So Rob, if you would.
Good morning. Good morning. Good to see everybody. Now for the daily word. The world feels new as I grow in awareness. Spending time in mindful contemplation increases my awareness of my surroundings. As I concentrate and focus my attention, I shut out distractions and settle my unquiet mind. My world begins to feel brighter, vibrant, and more alive as I notice the soft sounds and minute textures and colors I overlooked before. Spending time in prayer increases my awareness of God's goodness, which I share with others when I am patient and kind, generous and forgiving. This goodness returns to me as kindness and gentleness in the people I meet and ease and grace in all the places I go. The world has not changed, but I have. My awareness of God in and as my life has opened my eyes and ears, my mind and my heart. Now from Psalm 119:18, open my eyes so that I may behold wondrous things out of your law. So it is.
stillness of this holy place. Oh, before me peaceful, all behind me peaceful, under me peaceful, over me peaceful, all around me peaceful, all around me peaceful. There's a world that's moving all around us.
Our heart beats join the human race.
In our own stillness we can find peace there. Come now to this holy place.
All before me peaceful, all behind me peaceful, under me peaceful, over me peaceful, all around me peaceful, all around me peaceful.
So I'm Kim Mitchell, and I am going to do the meditation this morning. So I suggest that we'll start our meditation this morning by settling into our chairs and taking a couple of deep breaths, relaxing our bodies, and beginning to still our minds. So deep breath in and out, and once again, in and out. If you haven't already and are comfortable doing so, you may close your eyes. We all live and breathe and have our beings in the one presence and power in the universe. Drop down into that sacred space where you sense the oneness most clearly. Open it up, widen it, breathe into that space. Yes, that holy space. We want to experience the miracle of this oneness. The miracle is that nothing can ever sever us from this oneness, even when we feel the most separate. We choose how much divine nature we outpicture in our daily lives. How much divinity are you willing to claim? God's presence is constant, unchanging, the one enduring foundation of our lives. Only our awareness of it waxes and wanes. When we allow ourselves to wobble off center, we may feel unsafe, unloved, not enough. Your path is designed and co-created and maintained in the oneness, and it is good. As we go into the silence, give yourself the gift of coming back to center, here and now, in the silence. the miracle of oneness. We experience communion, which is the first attribute of wholeness. As we practice this reality of the oneness in our daily lives, we heal ourselves and we heal the world. And so it is. Amen.
Are we here for something? Are we just wasting time? Do we remember what we came for, or just taking up space with the blind, leading the blind? No one else can tell us. It has to come from within. It was planted there before we arrived. It's high time we remembered again. Let's get on with it. Let's stop fooling around. We got light to shine. We got walls to break down. We got hearts to open. We got blessings to share. We got tides to turn. Let's help each other get there. I know you felt it stirring deep inside your heart, a discontented feeling, like it's time to start. It seems that we've been sleeping. Now it's time to wake up. A new sunrise is calling us. Something inside is about to erupt. So let's get on with it. Let's stop fooling around. We got light to shine. We got walls to break down. We got hearts to open. We got blessings to share. We got tides to turn. Let's help each other get there. We're all in this together, even if we don't really see. Only we can make it better. It all comes down to you and so let's get on with it. Let's stop fooling around. We've got light to shine. We've got walls to break down. We've got hearts to open. We've got blessings to share. We've got tides to turn. Let's help each other get there. Yeah, let's get on with it. Let's stop fooling around. We've got light to shine. We've got walls to break down. We've got hearts to open. We've got blessings to share. We've got tides to turn. Let's help each other get there.
And thank you for joining us.
Nothing better for me than when the music does my sermon. That was so perfect. Well, the talk title is The Communion of Vision. And in our program, our fall program, which is what we're working on at this time, this awareness that we're being brought to, and as the daily word reading showed us, this awareness is that communion is about community and communication. And as I was reading, I looked at what communion meant. And it says that communion makes the invisible visible. Communion makes the invisible visible. it may not make much sense until you stop and take it apart and see what it means. When we are a spiritual community, things that we had not seen before in our own lives suddenly become apparent when we come together, because we come together to support and love and help each other. And those are the kind of things that make the invisible visible. Sadly, we've had another version of the invisible becoming visible with the pandemic. It has been going on for over 18 months now. We've had to wear masks, we've had to socially distance, we've had to be in lockdowns. And what's happened, unfortunately, is that there are many people that have had feelings of separation, anxiety, depression, and all these kind of things. And for me, the irony of that is that the communication and the connection we had makes things visible. The lack of communication and connection also makes things visible, and they are at the opposite end of the spectrum. But everybody that I know of has seen the effects of the pandemic. They've also seen the effects of not being able to get together, what that's had on our community. And I appreciate each one of you that have been faithful in coming and in doing what we can to get together. Now, our spiritual life only becomes visible when we get together and we connect with each other. We can have a spiritual life in private, that's true, but it's not supposed to be isolated. Our spiritual life is supposed to be shared with our community of believers. There's a passage in Leviticus, and it does not say, I shall be your God and you shall be my person. No, it says, I shall be your God, you shall be my people. God expected us to be community, connected, and collectively that we come together and support each other. And I think that's one of the important things for us to remember. It is the connection and the collection of people that make the difference. We think about it, Jesus didn't start the ministry by himself. He gathered people around him to come help him, people who had the same ideals and beliefs and vision that he had for changing the world. I can't think of one person that has done more to change the world than the teachings of our way shower. And it's been one of those types of situations where when they got together, they decided what they were going to do. The disciples getting together said, we need to invest in people that would otherwise be ignored and dismissed. In our community, it's often the poor, the undereducated, the people who are homeless. There are so many aspects of our society today that are seeing what's happening if we don't invest in each other and in the people who can't do for themselves. I'd like to tell you a story about a woman, Lady Susan Wood is her name. She was born in 1918 in a mud hut in a village in West Africa. She was born there because her parents were missionaries, and they went to that area to tell people about the way shower. As she was growing up, her parents decided to send her back to England so that she would have the education she needed to do her life's work. And so after a few years in England, getting her proper education, moving on with her life, she met and married a man, Michael Wood, who was a surgeon. And together they came back to near the village in Africa where she was born. They actually settled on the Karen Blixen estate. And anybody who has seen the movie Out of Africa knows that area because that was the estate used in that movie. And Lady Wood decided that she wanted to do something for her community to bring them together. So she started a business making small beads that could be turned into jewelry or just admired for their beauty. And she hired a couple of women in the local community. And then she realized there were a lot of women in that community that could use a job. And so as the business grew, she added more staff, men and women, got up to 120 people. And at that point, her small shed in her back garden wasn't big enough to house it all. And so they built a factory in 1988. The factory is still there, standing on those same grounds, still in operation. And to this day, there are well over 350 women working there. Most of them are single mothers and the leaders in their own small communities. But what it reminded me of was, here was a woman who invested in the people in her community. No matter what they had or what they did, they had a job. And I think we have the same thing here in America. Has anybody heard of the community called Gee's Bend in Alabama? They are quilters. And it's been the same thing for them. Their community has grown. They've become self-sustaining because they make quilts. And somebody from the arts community saw them and said, the world needs to see this. And so that was how another segment of population became known and became self-sustaining. It can happen in many places, in many ways, and I'm sure it already has other areas that we may not even know about, little small communities that have become self-sustaining because somebody invested in them, whether it was love or money or an idea, we don't know, but there are so many of them. And for Jesus, it wasn't that he wanted to do the religious rules and follow all the things that were being done in his time period. He was kind of a rule breaker. And so he used the people around him, if you will, to help him break the rules. He healed people, and he turned over the money changers' tables. He did what he felt was necessary to wake people up, to make them become aware of their situation, their circumstances, and the power that they had within them that they didn't even know about, that they didn't believe. And he didn't use the religious elite to start his ministry. No, he picked people off the street, everyday people that were willing to make a difference. One of those people was Roxana Saberi. She is a contemporary of ours, a journalist. She went to Iran to write a book, and it had to do with teaching people about how Iranian society really was, how the people were so loving and so kind, not necessarily the idea